The American West. A land of vast plains, towering mountains, and dusty saloons, it's a place where legends are born. One such legend is Billy the Kid. He was a young outlaw with a boyish grin and a lightning-fast draw. He left a trail of bodies and stolen cattle in his wake. To this day, his story continues to fascinate us. Billy the Kid, or William H. Bonney as he was also known, was a notorious outlaw by the age of 21. He was wanted for murder and a string of other crimes. In July of 1881, Sheriff Pat Garrett shot and killed a young man he claimed was Billy the Kid. The shooting occurred in a darkened room in Fort Sumner, New Mexico. Many people believed Garrett's account. They considered the kid dead and buried. However, whispers persisted that Garrett had killed the wrong man. These whispers grew louder with time. Some folks claimed that Billy the Kid had outsmarted Garrett and escaped. They said he lived out his days under an assumed identity. Then, in 1950, a man named Brushy Bill Roberts stepped forward with a startling claim. He declared that he was none other than William H. Bonney, the one and only Billy the Kid. His statement sent shockwaves through the American West. It was a sweltering summer night in Fort Sumner. The air was thick with humidity, and the sounds of crickets chirping. In a small adobe house owned by Pete Maxwell, Billy the Kid went next door to get some meat. He was unaware of Pat Garrett and his men coming for him. Pat Garrett, Billy's former friend turned lawman, had been tracking the kid for months. He was determined to bring him to justice. Garrett had received a tip that Billy was hiding out in Fort Sumner. He quietly arrived at Pete Maxwell's house. He entered the room with his deputy standing just outside the room. A body came to the doorway silhouetted in the moonlight and asked, "Q&S, who is it?" A shot rang out, splitting the night. Billy the Kid crumpled to the floor, a bullet through his heart. At least that's the story that Pat Garrett told. In reality, he killed Billy's friend Billy Barlow, a Mexican with a beard. Decades later, the legend of Billy the Kid was still going strong. Then, in 1948, a man claiming to be the Kid emerged from the shadows of history. His name was Brushy Bill Roberts, and he had a story to tell. Brushy Bill was a weathered old rancher living in Hico, Texas. He bore a striking resemblance to the famous outlaw. He claimed that he had been born William Henry McCarty, the same birth name as Billy the Kid. According to Brushy Bill, the night Pat Garrett came calling, he had killed another man in the dark. This unfortunate soul was mistaken for Billy. Brushy Bill claimed he had escaped in the confusion and assumed a new identity. He had been living in hiding ever since. Brushy Bill's story was met with a mixture of skepticism and intrigue. Could this elderly rancher truly be the notorious outlaw who had cheated death all those years ago? Brushy Bill presented a compelling case to support his claim. He possessed detailed knowledge of Billy the Kid's life. He could recount events that only the Kid himself could have known. He spoke fluent Spanish, just like Billy. He even bore scars on his body that matched those described in contemporary accounts of Billy the Kid. One such scar was on his left cheek, supposedly from a knife fight. Another was on his foot, where Billy was known to have been shot. Perhaps the most intriguing piece of evidence was Brushy Bill's handwriting. When compared to known samples of Billy the Kid's signature, the similarities were striking. However, skeptics argued that the handwriting samples were too small to be conclusive. They believed that Brushy Bill was a clever fraud who had meticulously researched Billy the Kid's life. Section 5. The Unconvinced Governor. Determined to clear his name and reclaim his true identity, Brushy Bill sought a pardon for the crimes of Billy the Kid. He believed that if he could prove he was Billy, he could also prove he was innocent of the murders attributed to him. In 1950, Brushy Bill traveled to Santa Fe, New Mexico to plead his case to Governor Thomas Mabry. He recounted his story and presented his evidence, hoping to convince the governor of his true identity. Governor Mabry listened patiently to Brushy Bill's story and reviewed the evidence. However, he remained unconvinced. He refused to grant Brushy Bill a pardon. The governor's decision was a blow to Brushy Bill. He had staked everything on his claim, and now he was left with nothing but disappointment and fading hope. Section 6. The debate rages on. Brushy Bill Roberts died in Hico, Texas on December 27, 1950, just a few weeks after his meeting with Governor Mabry. His claim to be Billy the Kid died with him. Or did it? Despite the lack of official recognition, Brushy Bill's story continues to intrigue historians and enthusiasts of the Wild West. The debate over his true identity rages on, with no definitive answers in sight. Some historians believe that Brushy Bill was a skilled con man who saw an opportunity to capitalize on the legend of Billy the Kid. They point to inconsistencies in his story and the lack of concrete evidence to support his claims. Others maintain that Brushy Bill was telling the truth. They argue that the evidence, while circumstantial, is too compelling to ignore. They believe that Brushy Bill was indeed Billy the Kid, living out his days under an assumed identity. Section 7. Separating Fact from Fiction. The story of Brushy Bill Roberts is a cautionary tale about the allure of the Wild West and the enduring power of legend. It's a story that blurs the lines between fact and fiction, leaving us to question what we believe. Was Brushy Bill a cunning imposter, or was he the real deal? The answer, like so much else in the story of Billy the Kid, remains shrouded in mystery. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. The lack of conclusive evidence ensures that the debate will likely continue for generations to come. And so, the legend of Billy the Kid lives on, fueled by speculation, intrigue, and the enduring human fascination with the outlaws and gunslingers of the Wild West. Section 8. The Enduring Legend. The story of Brushy Bill Roberts is a reminder that the Wild West wasn't just a time and place, but also a state of mind. It was a time when men like Billy the Kid could become legends. Whether or not Brushy Bill was the real Billy the Kid, he tapped into something deep within the American psyche. He reminded us of a time when the West was wild. He offered a glimpse into a world where men lived and died by their own rules. The legend of Billy the Kid, with all its twists and turns, continues to capture our imaginations. We are drawn to his story of outlawry and adventure, and perhaps we secretly hope that somewhere out there, beyond the reach of history, a part of that legend still lives on.